Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Daily Bark. I, of course, am Taylor Hodges with Mississippi State on SI. And today we are less than 24 hours removed from Mississippi State's first scrimmage of the preseason. Um, you can see my main takeaways from that on the website, but just to kind of rehash them real quick, based on the one highlight that we will get into, and what Jeff Lebby said afterwards, which we'll get into as well. The main takeaways are defense was good, offense not as good. Kelly Jones is going to probably end up being a star by the end of this season. Um, the defensive line appears to be ahead in development and all that of the offensive line. And the last thing was the turnovers. It was the first thing that Jeff Lebby said about the offense, which is a little bit of a concern, but that's a fixable concern. But again, we'll link it down below to where you can actually read more about those takeaways and whatnot. So, like I said, Sunday's scrimmage was closed to the public, including the media. So, really, all we have to go on from that is one highlight clip that, again, we'll get into in a little bit, and what Jeff Lebby had to say afterwards. Now, most of the highlights of what he had to say can be found on our website, which we'll link down below as well. But one question did kind of stand out to me, and it sparked a interesting comparison. If y'all will bear with me for a second. So after the scrimmage, Jeff Lebby was asked about his father-in-law, Art Briles, who was seen at practice last week before. Sometime they've had 9 practices. He was at least one of them when the media was there. Now, for those who don't know, Art Briles is the former Baylor coach who who took Baylor from being an afterthought, not even the butt of jokes. Like, I grew up in Texas, okay? I understand kind of the program, what Art Briles accomplished at Baylor. And he took Baylor from not even being the butt of the jokes to being the ones to make the jokes about other teams. Yeah. So he did a lot there. It ended in a bad, bad. Yeah. We won't get into details, but it not good, not good, not good. So there's that, and I think that's playing a role in this. But if you think about what Art Briles did at Baylor and look at what Jeff Lebby's trying to do here at Mississippi State, there's a lot of similarities. Neither program has a long history of success. Sure, they've had some times where they were successful, but for the most part, it's been not successful. We'll just be nice to Baylor. Uh, and so I think I don't think it's a bad idea having somebody that is trying to, that did what you're trying to do, watch you and see what you're doing and offer advice and everything like that. My problem is if you don't want to answer questions about having that person there, don't have them out there when the media's out there. Like, we're not idiots here. Nobody is. So how did that little detail get missed? Um, and that's kind of my thing is like you can let the reporter finish the question, because yeah, you're probably right in guessing where it was headed, but the way it was phrased could have gone in a positive direction. Like, hey, are there any boundaries around his presence in regard to the offensive scheme, philosophy, and things like that? Would that have been such a bad question to ask, and could it maybe get an answer? We're probably not going to know that because there's not a whole lot of availability coming up this week. Uh, but yeah, so I don't think it's a bad thing. The bad's the bad. It's technically there was an NCAA investigation, and Art Briles was not found to have done it. They did not charge him with any violations, however you want to phrase it that. And again, it's the NCAA, so it did take them 5 years. Uh, but it happened, and when you're the head coach, you get the credit and you get the blame, whether you deserve it, earned it, or not. You get it. That's the nature of the job. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on that. Let's look at that one highlight clip that has come out, and we'll give it the Zapruder film treatment. All right, so like I said, there's only been one highlight released from Sunday scrimmage, and since that's really all we have to go on, and I have a lot of time on my hands, we're gonna frame by frame this like they did the Zapruder film, and just kind of see what we can learn, what things we can figure out from that. So this right over here is the Kelly Jones 40-yard touchdown fumble recovery. And this is available on the Hail State Football Twitter account, so I don't think there's any problem showing this. If there is, we'll deal with that. But yeah, so let's just go at the start and see. So we know this is a scoop and score, is what it was referred to as, which is also a fumble. Now, the ball's right down here, and if we kind of drag it on a little further, we can see the ball a little better. But we can also see this referee right here wearing the white hat. Now, the white hat is usually worn by the head official, who is positioned behind the quarterback and off to the right. So, if that's who this is, then looks to be a backwards pass that maybe was deflected, bounced off a receiver's hand, some way, something like that. But that's kind of what this looks like. And if we kind of go a little bit further along, we can see the ball jumping around. Now, this is Kelly Jones coming right here into the frame, and he's going to pick it up right there. Now, let's back up a little bit right here. And this is where we start to get into the Zapruder film aspect of all this. So, if we think and assume that Kelly Jones is a first-team defensive back, then it logically follows that there's more first-teamers out there. Does that necessarily mean that the people down here are not first-teamers? No, but let's identify them just for kicks. So number 10 right here, that's going to be Jalen Smith, the former Tennessee linebacker. 22 right here, that's Kedrick Bingley Jones, the defensive tackle. 42 right here, that is another defensive lineman, DJ Reed. Now, standing in front of DJ Reed, I'm not able to fully identify who this is because this second number never comes up. But if you play around with it a little bit, it gets a little more complicated because it looks like an 8, except right here-ish starts to kind of have a little space, so it could be a 9. So it's whether it's an 8 or a 9, and then also the second number looks to have a curved top, like you can see right here with the 4, it's a flat top. Right here, we're looking at a round top, so that kind of helps eliminate some. So the possibilities that I came up with for this are if it's an 8, it's Jamil Burrows. If it's a 9, it could be Jere Bledsoe, Asian Shepherd, and Diesel Moy. So those are some possibilities there. If it's not Jamil Burrows, right here, standing right here, it'd be interesting to know if he's actually out there on the field with some of the first teamers. But again, scrimmage is closed, and so is next week, so we won't really know anything about that. We might, but we won't be able to see it. How about that? All right, so next up, we have number 35 right here, and that is Calvin Dinkins. And so what that group of players tells us is that let me back up a little bit. This is defensive linemen right here. These are defensive linemen. That's probably going to be defensive lineman right there. And then Jalen Smith probably starts like the linebacker group. So if you imagine all the positions are kind of grouped together near their head, near their position coach. That kind of looks like that. But let's see here. Let's go ahead and we'll just, I think we can play it out right quick. There's DJ Reed. And hold up. Go back. We had another player right here. 14. 14 is Locavian Jackson. He's a true freshman. So just for the record. And so if we just kind of let it play out a little bit, it's going to go into slow-mo here. Actually, we're just going to pause it. And we'll just skip ahead right here. A little celebration. All right, now here is what we can assume to be the first team defensive players. And we have Nick Mitchell right here, number 40. Number 7, Zachary Tillman right here. Number 21 is Hunter Washington. And over here, if we let it go a little further, is number 6, Deontay Anderson. Now, that's pretty much all we get from that. So let's close out of that, and we'll be right back. Okay, so what can we really learn from that, if anything? Well, honestly, we probably shouldn't make too many assumptions or anything like that. But since this is really all we have to work with, a little detective work is what we're going to do. I think by seeing this right off the bat, we can say that Nick Mitchell, Zachary Tillman, Hunter Washington, Deontay Anderson, I think those are going to be the starters. They're all returning players as well, which I think is helpful when it comes to winning those starting positional battles. And so, as for the defensive line, it's hard to read too much into that because there's at least one player that we can't identify clearly, and there's four candidates, and then also we don't really know who's out there and whatnot. But the names of the potential defensive linemen that are out there are interesting. You got Red Hibbler as a candidate, Trevian Williams, a few others. So, yeah, again, we're just trying to find out information and maybe somewhat be able to piece some things together, put 2 and 2 together and get 5. So that's going to be it for today's show. We'll be back probably tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. If there's any news or anything like that, there's no practice today. They're practicing tomorrow, and I think there is no availability, or there is some available. I don't know. I'd have to double check, and that breaks the rules of the show of putting in research and time. So